and welcome to Into the Deep, a PlayStation VR podcast. I am Ben.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Dustin.
And we're coming to you from handsomephantom.com. You know, the number one place in all the world. That's not true.
We're in the website.
We are inside the HTML code currently, and JavaScript is trying to attack us. So, Dustin, speaking of computers attacking us, we need to talk about some garbage we saw recently. Ready Player One.
Oh man, we're getting
big, steamy dump
We're gonna
pile
get
of-
right into it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just had to. I mean, it was just a natural correlation there.
Oh well, Ready Player One. We went and saw this film.
No, real quick. We know this isn't PlayStation VR, but it's VR
No, we
related.
hold on. Wait, if you let me talk,
Dustin, I'm sorry.
I could explain. I was gonna say we saw this film because this is the first real big major motion picture with we could say a modern VR, right? We've seen other bullshit stuff before, but nothing quite like this.
Explain to me what that is. What those other things were that we saw.
Let me think. The first thing that came to my mind was Tron, but that's
Please
not
don't do
VR.
that. I was gonna say, please don't.
That's not VR.
You also called it bullshit, and that's inappropriate.
The first Tron is kind of bullshit.
Okay.
Kindly
Please
leave.
just get out.
It's
of the
not very
podcast.
good.
Get out of the website.
It's
now.
nostalgic. Nostalgia only.
No.
Your nostalgia's lying to you, Phil.
So
About
here's the
Tron.
thing about Tron. Without Tron, there's no Tron Legacy. And then there's no...
I'm fine with that. There are many things that the second is better than the first, and the first can be bad.
It can be bad.
How many bands do you know that maybe you don't like their first album or their second album, but you like the third album?
Rarely. Usually by that point.
Oh, well,
Yeah, it goes backwards.
okay.
I like the first one. The second one's maybe okay.
Okay, so please continue
Yes.
with your assault on Tron.
Yeah.
Oh, the assault on Tron
No,
or the
just
assault
move
on
on.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So we saw this because, VR is a hot topic, of course, in the world. It has not hit that mainstream appeal. It's not like everyone has a VR headset, but Ready Player One is like this first real big movie that VR is like the center point of.
Yeah.
And I think the movie skips out on a lot of the more interesting parts of the book, which I don't think the book is really that great either. I listened to it on audiobook like a year or so ago. But it's interesting to think about this future. The future of Ready Player One is there's this VR world called the Oasis, and it's like all encompassing. Like when you log on to VR, you're just getting onto the Oasis. And the Oasis is pretty much more important than the real world at this
Right.
point. This is where your money is. This is where a lot of people go to work. This is where people go to school, is in the Oasis. And so you see the real world kind of deteriorate. Like a lot of people live in like different slums. And part of the book they talk about the government is like the government of the United States is not even really that important anymore because the Oasis and the
like your
game
life.
makers. Yeah, the game makers are really more important at this point than anything else. But unfortunately, a lot of these cooler sci-fi concepts and ideas are not present in the film at all. And it's mainly just, as you've probably heard, is just like a nostalgia bait movie the entire time. I don't even know what else to say about it.
Do you, and I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we talked a little bit about Bravo Team in the past and how Bravo Team could be a fun game, but not a good game.
Uh-huh.
Is Ready Player One a fun movie that's not good, or is it just a not good movie that's not good?
I think there are parts of Ready Player One that are extremely fun. There are a couple parts that I really did enjoy myself, but it has highs, decent highs, we'll say,
Right.
and very low lows.
What was going through my mind when we watched the film, was
The film.
was the word cringe. There were so many pieces of the movie, and I'm sorry, guys. If you like the movie, that's fine. You're allowed to like bad movies. I like bad movies. Matter of fact, I'm going to watch this movie with my kids when it comes out because they're going to love it. But what were the cringiest? Like, were there a lot of cringy parts for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like it's hard to say specifically, but there's so many moments in this movie where they're just like, well, why don't they make a reference to this just because? It's just like every line at points, it feels like, has some stupid reference that is there just because. They'll be like, oh yeah, let's do this, this, and this, just like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And let's do this, this, and this from
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Or just like so-and-so said in War Games, Matthew Broderick in War Games said, or stuff like that. It's like, was that necessary, or was it just there so some dad in the audience would be like, oh, I remember War Games, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're good.
You read the book, I did not, or you listened to the book. It seems to me like the original intent behind the writing was that the creator was not only really interested in video games, but also just like immersed to the core in pop culture. I think that might have been part of what they were going for with a lot of those things, just that like our life is so intertwined with this oasis that we have to talk about this pop culture stuff because it's programmed in, so therefore we know about it. But I don't think that came through very well in the film.
I think that I honestly don't really remember if that came through in the book either, but it is interesting because that is something that is definitely at the forefront. If you think about it, is that this guy is obsessed with pop culture. He creates this world that is about the things he loves and so centered on those, but it's so immersive, so impressive technology that the world adopts it. So this is what the world has become.
Because it's set in like 2045 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's we're not film critics or anything, but it's just a bad.
I have reviewed a film in my day.
You have.
So I
Yeah.
can't speak for myself.
Well, whatever.
I'd like to-
You didn't watch this one.
No. But I think there's a good way to do pop culture love. Like if you watch Community,
Yeah.
they reference pop culture in every episode, but it's done correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like this and I don't even think it's bad enough to be a good bad movie. Like I love bad movies. Like 2012, I watch 2012 all the time. That's a bad movie.
Yeah.
But this I don't think is bad enough to be a bad movie and not good enough to be a good movie.
Right.
One thing I would like to talk about as far as Ready Player One is that some of the technology it's interesting because we're already seeing some of the groundwork laid
Right.
for the technology in the film, right?
Sure.
So I keep calling it a film, and that makes me sound just
Well, you were doing that.
really
that's why
lame.
I changed it from movie
I
to
think
film.
it's when I get into like this is even sounds even more pretentious. When I get into critical mode, I think
Right.
I call movies films, which just now I say it out loud. I'm a douche. I am. That's what I am.
right.
Just for doing that.
But I think there's a time and place for film. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if Ready Player One is a film.
No.
I don't know.
So anyway, some of the technology is in the movie is laid out, and we're already seeing some of the groundwork. For example, when he's in his little he like goes into the oasis in this little like cave thing and a bunch of cars, right? But he has this it's like a 3D what's the word I'm looking for? Treadmill. Right? That so it like holds him in place, kind of like that virtual Omni track thing.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
Like,
it's cool
It's a treadmill that moves every direction and lets you think you're walking around. Yeah.
so we're already seeing some of that.
The bodysuit.
The bodysuit, which lets you feel what you feel in the virtual world. It makes you feel it
Which
in the
could
real
be
world.
good or bad.
Could be good or bad, which that made me think later in the movie they're like fighting each other and it's hurting them because they're wearing these stupid suits. And I'm like, if you're going into a combat situation,
Don't wear it.
don't wear the suit. They make it clear that it's optional. It's for
Right.
like rich people
Right.
to afford.
For the Sexton and whatnot.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, you could.
It's definitely implied that there's some
Yes.
sexuality
Yeah.
with the suit. The other thing is they have gloves in it that make it so like you can grip things in the world and it actually has resistance and stuff like that. Which what's interesting, tying this very specifically into PlayStation VR, is I believe Sony there was like some patent floating around about a
Right.
glove for
Yes.
PlayStation VR. So I'm curious what a glove would look like, what that would actually do, what kind of technology we have as far as a consumer product,
Right.
what that could look like.
I think Nintendo figured that out 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they didn't do. Yeah, that's totally different.
So I'm wondering because like you could definitely build something that like I don't know has wires or something. So when you grip something, it like tightens them up so it has that
Right.
resistance. I don't think that would be possible in any kind of commercial
Have you
product
seen
right now. But
Sure.
What's the movie on Netflix from the Workaholics guys?
Oh, which one? They've done a couple now.
The one where like they had like a take them hostage and they have to like
one with
escape from the
Shaggy?
building. Yeah, the one with Shaggy.
I don't remember.
Did you
what
watch
it's
that
called.
yet?
No, I didn't see it yet.
They basically make that suit with the fingers and the thing. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Interesting.
So
Where
yeah,
you are the controller, basically.
it's curious too, because also thinking about Ready Player One, everyone is this crazy wacky avatar, right? You have Tracer and the Battletoads and all kinds of crazy avatars. And we're starting to see this almost start to pop up in VR chat.
Yeah.
Like VR chat, if you don't know what that is, it's for PC only and it works on Vive and Oculus, and it's basically this VR chat room where you can be any character you want. You just have to
You
upload
just program it in.
a 3D model,
Right.
and then you can do that.
It doesn't even have to be 3D either.
That's right. Yeah, there's some flat ones in there too. So
Terrifying.
it's just interesting because like VR chat is like seems like some fucked up version of like a Circle of Hell or something, where it's just like 4chan level memery going on of vulgarness.
Right.
And so it's interesting to see like, oh, here's probably what this would actually look like. A bunch of anime titty girls running around
Right.
that all are like, hey, you know what I mean?
Right.
The deep voices. So
Narratively,
yes.
I didn't think it was superb either. I mean, sure, you have the meme references and you have the all the pop culture stuff, but just from a narrative point of view, and I don't know, I didn't read the book, so I don't know if it's how closely it correlates. I just did not expect Steven Spielberg to put out something that interested me in a thoughtful manner so little.
All right. Now, what year does the movie take place?
Like 2045.
2045. So, like, do they still care about Overwatch? Like, are people going to remember that, like, in 2045? Like, is that the kind of world? Like, I feel like that's the problem with it, too, is the pop culture was for us and not for them in 2045. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot of stuff incorporated from like current day, except for maybe like Twitch was in
Right.
there. Now, on the other hand, Twitch has been around for 15 years, or
Right.
not in its current form, but in some form or another. Maybe not 15 years, but it's been a little while. But
Yeah.
even still, yeah, it's just. And also, I thought when that happened, I wonder how much they paid to have Twitch mentioned in there. But that's beside. They had like Rayovac batteries too, up close and personal, and I was like, I wonder if that's.
You get like 8 of those for $1.
Right.
Right.
So let's have a wider conversation about this. Do you think that VR in the future is going to have a everyday, at the minimum, potentially all the time use in the future?
I think it will. I think it'll be a lot more time than 2045 before it's as pronounced as it was in Ready Player One. But I think that, I mean, with the creation of things like Sports Bar and VR Chat and those kinds of things, where, I mean, there are some people, and we've talked about this a little bit before, who, and I'm not making fun or anything, that is their world. Those are their friends. Like, they are in there with people they've never met, but it's a 3D space where they're interacting, and I'm sure there's been some romantic type stuff happening so people can meet people that they're romantically interested in, just friendships. I guarantee that that's happening already. And so I would imagine it's only going to become more pronounced as we become more and more dependent, or not, I don't mean dependent in a bad way, but dependent upon online socializations. I mean, there's people I play different PlayStation games with that I've never met in person. There's people I meet on Twitter that I've then gone on to meet in person, and we're good friends now. So, like, I definitely think there's a component of our society that wants to have interactions exclusively online. I don't know that it's going to be quite the same level. That
So the question then becomes, is VR or AR the way that's going to take place?
I don't think it's AR.
You don't think?
No,
I think it's both.
I think it could have a little
you
bit
could
of
be
both.
right on that. And
I mean, you could have your phone, you know, I mean, like, you know, even they're talking about headsets or whatever. You just, like, I don't know. I think AR has a good chance of having those interactions. And
like a Google, what was that thing called? Where like sunglasses that you
yeah,
wore?
pretty much, yeah.
Oh, Google Glass.
Yeah. And then just like
Yeah.
right in front
See,
of you.
It's already so past.
Right. It's so bad.
So I'm also curious. So we're talking about the everyday VR. I'm wondering when are we going to get to the point that VR is like a actual way to be productive, to work?
Right.
Because part of that intrigues me. The thought of like doing something like I'm a video editor. That's how I pay my bills. I'm thinking about a future where I can do video editing in VR.
What would be the advantage?
I don't know, like, and that's I don't really know. I don't know, maybe if it's the screen real estate or something like that.
I almost feel like there's a sense, and this is very loose, but there's a sense in which you do video editing in VR because you can parsec into your work computer. You can download files or whatever from Dropbox or maybe FTP, wherever clients do it. So in a sense, all you would need is just a headset and your couch. And that would already be like, you're basically already doing that.
They do have, like, Oculus has, there's an app on the Steam store that lets you view your desktop in full VR. Like,
Right.
it's just like you're in, like, space or wherever you want to be. And then there's 2 giant screens.
Right.
But I'm just wondering if that would be even effective.
Just like virtual machines, period.
Well, they're not virtual. I mean, it's your desktop.
Right. Yeah.
But you mean like virtual monitors.
Yeah, well, like now, okay, again, Parsec, you can rent a cloud computer. That's what I mean by a virtual machine. Like it exists somewhere on a server, but there is no actual machine that exists that you're seeing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm honestly surprised that the way that PlayStation has not taken advantage of the PlayStation VR in ways beyond gaming, right? Just because you have PlayStation VR, the most currently am I right in saying the most popular PlayStation VR?
I think
popular headset.
I mean,
I guess a lot of people probably have Cardboard or the Gear VR.
If you look into it like that, with between Oculus and Samsung, I mean, they're coming out with so many different types of VR. If you look for a straight VR experience, I think it's definitely PlayStation VR.
I can't believe that Sony isn't like, hey, here's our E3 press conference. You can watch it in VR through our app.
Right.
Or I'm surprised there isn't like different companies like, hey, we're doing a VR educational thing that's available
talking about
through
concerts,
PlayStation.
Like they're gonna have live shows where you just pop on the headset and you're in the front row.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Sony hasn't taken it to that next level to make like VR not just for games but for other applications.
Right.
Which this might be a perfect segue. There's a release of a new VR headset on the day of this recording.
That's right.
Actually.
Yeah. And again, it's not PlayStation VR, but I want to talk about it as a competitor. We're going to talk about it in general, but I want to talk about the Oculus Go as a competitor, and to PlayStation VR specifically, because I think that one of the big advantages of PlayStation VR is that it is so approachable. Well, this system is $200 for the base model, and what was it for the bigger model? A little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah.
Maybe double even. I don't remember for sure. But so the Oculus Go is basically the Oculus. What was the one called before that? Like you put your phone screen in there.
Son of a bitch, what is it called?
Well, whatever it's called.
The Samsung Gear VR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was partnered with Oculus.
Partnered with Oculus. This is basically that, except you don't have to put your phone in there. It's 100% standalone, no wires or anything. You don't even need headphones for it. It like projects the sound into your ear holes, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But everyone else can hear it.
Yeah, that's the not cool part.
Yeah, you really gotta be careful with what you're doing on there. But and there's a single controller, one-hand controller. So I'm curious.
Keep that other hand free.
That's right.
For some people.
For some people.
Some
Brandon?
interests.
I'm curious what
It always comes back to
Brandon's
Brandon.
always the sexual deviant of our conversation.
That's right.
He's now liked and reviewed and followed and subscribed to the podcast. So
Has
we gotta
not
find
listened.
some other way to talk about him now
That's
on
right,
the show.
yeah.
So I doubt he's listened still.
So, no.
Don't mention that we said that and see if he ever brings it up.
Right. He won't.
But I'm really curious, is the Oculus Go going to be a competitor? Because one, I mean, I imagine that it's got a low battery life as compared to what we would like to see from a standalone headset. It doesn't have the quality of games. So is it a competitor? Is it not? And a separate conversation perhaps is, what does something like that mean for the industry of VR? I mean, we certainly are moving forward. Oculus has said they're on the path to 1 billion VR users. Yeah. What does that mean for the industry in general?
It means it's a gateway. It's a way for people to try it, get hooked, and then either need to get Oculus or move into PSVR or something. But I don't think it's going to be the standard. I think people will try it. It's going to be like the Ouya or the this new Atari machine they have coming out. It's not going to compete with the PlayStation, the Xbox, but
I don't know if that's a good comparison though,
I
because
just
I
wanted to-
think this Oculus Go is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I think it's going to sell potentially like crazy, and it's going to be a lot of people's first VR. So in that sense, I disagree with you, but I do totally agree that this is going to be like a rising tide.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Raises all ships. That's right. So I think a lot of people might either buy an Oculus Go and then want more, and they're like, oh well, I don't have a $1,000 PC, so I'm gonna buy a
That's what I'll
PlayStation
do,
VR. So I think you're right. I think that a lot of people that this is going to be a great introduction. It's going to get them thirsty. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree.
It just all comes down to the games. I mean, if there's no games, I don't play a lot on my phone just because
Here's the
there's
thing,
better
though.
games other places.
I don't think it's about games.
No,
No.
It's about experiences.
It's not. I think that like something that it's literally on the box. It talks about movie apps.
Oh, nice.
So I think for a lot of people, this is like, hey, you wanna get completely out of where you are and watch some Netflix. Get this thing, or another big thing they're pushing is their Oculus. I don't know if it's called Places or Spaces,
Something like that. Yeah.
which is basically like a much more controlled VR chat where you can invite your friend and hang out and you can watch Netflix together. So this is something cool.
Netflix and chill.
You can
virtually.
Netflix and chill virtually.
with your
But no-
bodysuit.
That's why it's only got the one controller.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
no, I actually do think that it would be really cool that like, you know, you are living far away from family members or something and you watch this show together every week. Well, now you have this way that you can watch it together far apart and feel together.
My wife and brother-in-law used to do that. He was in China, or even if he was like in the times where he wasn't, and I'd be like, you know, out doing what I do for 22 hours a day, and she just like actually want to watch a movie with her brother and hang out. So they would put each other on FaceTime and simultaneously start a movie on Netflix and be within probably a second or two of each other where they were, and actually watch movies together that way. So yeah, this is a obvious tie-in.
I think it's dynamite, dude. I think if people once they start, you know, the word gets out, I think people are going to be super into it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what intrigues me about it is that the review I watched earlier today was saying that was like, this headset is so comfortable and we've tried watching movies on other headsets but couldn't, and this one we just forgot.
Well, it's so low profile.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like the PlayStation VR as much as I love it. It weighs my neck down. It just does. I mean,
Yeah.
it sticks out far in the front. It's heavy. There's wires attached. This is that thing that I could see like, oh, I'm going on an 8-hour car ride. I'm throwing on this headset and just chilling.
Dude, that's what I was thinking about, like being on a plane.
Yeah.
Throw it on. It's like if you have noise canceling headphones, then you're good. It's like you're not even on the plane anymore.
Right.
That sounds amazing because I hate being on planes.
Right.
Though that's actually another thing I thought of. I hate being on planes just because I'm uncomfortable. I'm wondering if this could help people that feel like anxiety and
Claustrophobic,
stress,
yeah.
or claustrophobic on a plane, that they can
Right.
put this on and could help them forget.
Yeah.
So
Talking about the shared experience of like watching something on Netflix or perhaps even doing something else makes me think about all the times we've talked about introducing VR, PlayStation VR specifically, to our friends.
Yep.
Phil, you had such experience this week. And
I
we
did.
didn't talk about it before because I
did.
wanted to save
Yeah.
it for the show.
Right.
But you said it was different than past experiences you've had.
It was different in the fact that it was a group and it was all non-gamers. So Nate Renwick and his wife and Jordan and I think we had 3 couples over and they just tried this thing out. And the funny thing was the reason it was different. Jordan, I don't know if you guys probably don't, you know Jordan, but it's neither here nor there.
Phil, you almost knocked over your
Almost
hell or
knocked
high
over my beer.
watermelon.
So he's about 5 foot tall, and like he puts his headset on, and he's playing Eagle Flight, so he's flying around. And like I've never seen anyone. I mean, he's got the cord wrapped all around him. He's spinning around in circles. Like I've never seen someone, even like my parents, they're not turned around backwards. I mean, I don't even know how the sensors were picking up where he was because he was all turned around. His wife was falling on the ground. Like whenever she would actually like dive, she'd actually like go down to her knees and like move around. And so it's interesting seeing non-gamers, I think specifically, do this kind of stuff because it's always a new experience.
Right.
Some of them get scared with different parts. You know, they hit a smack into the Eiffel Tower and they're, you know, screaming, and others think it's awesome, so they want to keep doing it. So then it became a contest of who can smash into stuff the fastest and the hardest, and
Right.
And then little things you don't think about.
That almost real quick reminds me of like when you watch a non-gamer play a game with a controller,
Right.
And they're turning the controller left and right and all
Right.
around. And
My dad does do that.
Holly
Yeah.
does that, and I've mentioned it to her once, and she got so mad. She was very self-conscious about
Right.
it.
Yeah,
But
Still funny though.
I understand it.
Yeah, I
the
understand
idea
it too.
behind it, but
and the thing with them too, even with the controller, like I would tell them, she's like, "How do you speed up?" Well, hit the trigger. Well, which one's the trigger?
yeah, that's
What's the
tough.
fucking trigger? Like
Right.
I mean, even if you don't know, it's gonna be that trigger. But then you have
Yeah.
to like.
You've seen a gun, right?
Right, exactly. But then, like, in me, like, I'm so flabbergasted that people don't know where these buttons are. I'm trying to, like, point to them. It's the one right there. I'm like, oh, you got the headset on. You can't see what I'm doing.
Right.
So it was an interesting experience. I've never showed that many people at one time. So that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phil, we were gonna talk about news a little bit.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of news.
No, there's none.
We were going to talk about upcoming releases.
Yes.
But first, I just blew you all away, didn't I?
Wow.
That
Oh,
was I just downloaded
Wow.
that app right before this. We're gonna do Pitch Please.
Pitch.
Pitch, please.
And I intentionally did this as to not give you guys a lot of time.
Oh
But
no.
to
No
help you out
time.
a little bit,
Okay.
I'm going to go first with my pitch. That way you have just a few seconds to think about yours.
Okay.
You can fight it out otherwise. But,
Okay.
all right, so mine. My pitch. And I just came up with this while we were recording. It's a very iconic ship. And it's a ship that needs a lot of work. But you're flying around on this ship and you're blasting stuff out of the sky. And occasionally something goes haywire. And you need to run into the control room or run into a different area of the ship and start fixing some stuff.
So you're R2D2?
Other times you need to go into a different pod and you need to shoot stuff down. Yeah, that's right. It's the Millennium Falcon.
I thought so. I pictured I saw R2 scooting around fixing things.
I don't know that it's necessarily R2. I mean, maybe
Right.
R2's there and you can commission him off to do other things.
They always send him to fix everything.
I
though.
know they did.
Yeah.
You're right, but no, you play as either Han Solo or Chewie, whichever
Yep.
one you like. And this is a great movie tie-in with the Solo movie coming up, which we'll reserve comment about the Solo movie in general until we actually see it. But you know,
trying.
basically, you're performing multiple actions. You're not only flying, which that's not something brand new to VR, PlayStation VR. You are shooting stuff in the Millennium Falcon. That's brand new. But you know, the Millennium Falcon, it's a hunk of junk. You're running around, you're fixing stuff as it blows up, as it explodes. And then also you're those separate pods. You're going down in there into those turrets. You're shooting TIE fighters out of the air. Really, the game is impressive, but it's more so just it's the Star Wars tie that really gets you sucked in. That's my pitch. My pitch is for Millennium Falcon, the game, the VR game.
That's good. That's good.
Thanks.
Yeah. You got anything yet?
Yeah, I have one. So this game is a undercover game, not a stealth game.
Ooh.
In this game, you must act like somebody else. This is stolen identity. In this game, you are at a party, and you've stolen the identity of Nick Cage. So in this game, you're at a party, and you're Nick Cage. You're very a famous type guy, and you're probably this is a lower level party. This isn't like Beverly Hills Party. So everyone knows who you are. So the main gameplay of this is that people are asking you to recite and act out different scenes from Nicolas Cage movies.
Okay.
And so you have to convince people at the party that you're actually Nicolas Cage by doing these faithfully and accurately, not only through the voice recognition of the quote of the line, but also the acting out, such as, not the bees.
So it's you star Nicolas Cage.
No, well, sort of.
Okay.
That's another hard part about the game is that Nick Cage is after you.
Oh, wow.
wow.
And so the thing is, for some reason, the party, it's maybe not in a good neighborhood. They got the doors locked. So Nick Cage is actually outside and he's peeking in. And you have to, find ways to either hide from Nick Cage or to get him out. Like maybe during one of your things, you throws something at him out the window, and then he falls backwards
Now it's
out the
Sneak
window.
Cage.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Sneak
Suddenly.
Cage.
Sneak Cage.
Wow.
It's almost like Sneak King, but different.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, so
Now that I just watched the episode of Community recently, where they have a class that Abed takes, where it's Nicolas Cage, good or bad actor.
oh yeah,
And he like basically loses his mind trying to figure out if he's good or bad.
no, that's
I think everyone kind of loses their mind. Here's the thing about Nick Cage. I like Nick Cage, but I also think he's bad.
yeah.
the name of the game is Don't Cage Me, Bro.
Oh
Wow.
man.
Wow.
So
And for that reason.
there you go. That's
Okay.
that's my game.
All right.
That's what you get when you don't fucking warn me.
I did it on purpose.
I know.
could not like I.
Maybe this is a good thing.
I decided
Here's
that
that we need
I
to know.
decided to do the game 5 minutes before the show and came up with my own while we were talking about Ready Player One.
I need anyone to tweet at me at Dustin Campfly or of course at Hands of Bam. Let me know about don't cage me.
Don't cage me,
Let me
bro.
any investors out there. Don't cage me, bro. I'm open to talk ideas.
Or if Nick Cage, if you're listening,
Nick Cage, if you're
here's the
out
thing.
there,
Here's
let
the
me
thing.
know. Hook
if
your
we
brother
could
up.
get this pitch into Nick Cage's hands, it would happen.
When we
He
were
will do anything.
when
crazy.
we were at PAX East,
Yeah.
our Uber driver said that
I was thinking of that the whole
he was
time.
in his car. That he gave Nick Cage a ride. So maybe we'll have to hit up that Uber driver, Lyft driver, whatever.
interview.
All right, Phil.
Well, when you don't give me any time, what you get is what I'm about to go into detail about.
All right.
So, everyone knows I'm big on my walking simulators. So I think it's about time in VR we have like a Firewatch or a Gone Home or something with that kind of emotional magnitude. But it can be a new story. It doesn't have to just be one of those rehashed in VR. But I think it's time that we actually had a good walking sim that you can actually walk around in and be the character and not just sort of, kind of experience it a little differently.
Being this is from you, will
Yeah.
there be lesbians in
I would
it?
prefer it. I mean, I really think that it should be in the Life is Strange universe.
Or it could be a
as,
choice. In the Life is Strange universe.
I mean, that's always my preference, but it doesn't have to be. I'm just spitballing here. Square. Square. Get back at me on that one. But yeah, no, the sexuality is optional. It doesn't even have to have anything like that. I just like a good, well-written story, one that gives me some feels.
So why is it that you like Life is Strange then?
Oh man, boy.
If you like good, well-written stories.
Okay.
I'm so
okay,
confused.
so there's that. All right. Huh. It's a good thing I don't like Star Wars as much as I used to.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, that hit me harder than The Last Jedi.
Wow.
Okay. What's the premise then?
The
I mean,
premise
it's a walking simulator. But what's the premise?
The premise is, I mean, you gave me no time to think about it. I don't care what the premise is. The premise is that it is just well written.
Yeah.
It's got to have an emotional story. I haven't had time to write the story.
Wouldn't it be cool if game designers could do that? Be like, all right, look, here's the pitch. It's going to be well written. And they're
All
like,
right,
well,
all
do you
right.
have any proof for that? And they're like, well, it's going to be well
Okay.
written.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I were to say,
Who's the main character?
The
Right
main
now,
character?
tell me who the main character
I'm
is.
the main character.
Phil
Oh,
Nyman.
wow. I'm the main character.
Phil Nyman is the lead character in this walking simulator in VR.
Right.
So
It's
in-
loosely based on my life.
loosely based on your life. Do you start like how young are we talking? Are we
19. You start. You have your own apartment. It's
Are you
kind
working-
of in a campground type area. You're a fast food manager.
I was gonna say fast food manager.
You are.
Okay.
You're going through the mundane details, and through time, just with the relationships that you build and the friendships that you make, you move up to 4-bedroom house and assistant manager at a bank, which is not much different than where I was at the fast food restaurant.
Wow.
But
I mean, it sounds like there's more money involved, which is good. Not
yeah, there's more
insane
money.
amount of
There's more
you
money.
know,
More
respectable.
time to do things like this. I'd probably be working if I was 19 right now, and
Right.
not on the podcast with you fine gentlemen. But yeah, I think I'm working with my own life, I would say, and just going from it's
You have a scratch on your phone screen. I
it's
couldn't-
the remember when Dustin dropped a microphone on it?
No.
Yeah, I do.
Was that it? I don't remember dropping. Wait, I
Put a
remember
little
that
dent
vaguely.
there, it cracked it a bit. It's
Where
just
were
a
we?
screen protector right here at this
Oh.
table.
Sorry, I got distracted because I
Yeah.
saw. I can't handle that kind of stuff.
Okay, so and if you don't like that,
Like this
it's
screen.
it's just gonna be Life is Strange 3.
Well, I like that
Okay.
last. All right, then.
Right.
Since you went last, you get to vote first.
Oh, geez, that's tough. That is tough. Oh man. Well, I know I'm not getting any votes, so let's think how I want to go with this. I would play both of these games.
Uh-huh.
I think I got to go Nick Cage a
Don't
little
cage me,
bit.
bro.
I think we've seen Star Wars. We've been let down by Star Wars. EA would probably be making this game at this point in time.
I should have made that an exclusive
Well-
arrangement. But they
We'll
couldn't.
talk about that when they lose the license. Maybe we'll
microtransactions.
revisit that. I think at 51 to 49, I'm going to go with Nicolas Cage. Both great ideas.
Nice.
I'm going. I want to believe in your Star Wars idea. And to be honest, I was only half listening because I was scrambling trying to think of what my pitch was.
Right.
So I don't remember half of it.
I can repeat it.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Was there lightsaber battles in it?
There absolutely could be.
On the Millennium Falcon.
They would take place on the Millennium Falcon, though.
Whoa. I can't vote for myself. Is that the rule?
That's the rule.
Oh, then definitely. Yeah. Life is
So
Strange
my-
3. Excuse me. No, I'm good.
So my pitch is the X-Files. You play as Mulder.
No,
No, I can't.
No, that's
Oh,
for
no.
next time. Save it for
Okay.
You're
tomorrow.
done. You're dead.
Damn it.
Okay, so we have one for, well, if I pick yours, which I would never do, that would be a three-way tie. But I almost want to do it so Dustin can't win again.
Yeah, it's tough. Isn't it?
But I also have to go with Don't Cage Me, Bro.
Don't
Yeah.
cage me, bro.
Yeah.
Coming to PlayStation VR.
The name
Very
almost
soon.
lost me. The name
No,
almost lost me.
The
Because I
name,
think it's gonna be
I'll
David
say
Cage.
that the name is not great,
No.
but it's the name that it needs to be. I think there's a lot of potential with the fact that Nick Cage is trying to get in
I agree.
to the house to
Yeah.
try to get you. You got a little neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
That Hello Neighbor situation only good.
I'm changing my vote.
With like National Treasure 2 hair where it's like all pushed back. and
Yeah, that's
long,
right.
and he's just like looking in the window.
Actually, one of the things you can do is that you can pull out a fake Declaration of Independence and you throw it out the window, and he goes to fetch it like a dog.
In his Shelby Mustang.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, well, there we have it.
Yep.
Don't tase me, or don't cage me, bro.
don't cage me, bro.
That's the next one. The police brutality game. Sorry about
That
that.
took a Cosby turn.
Didn't mean to do that. What? There's no Bill Cosby mention there. Phil, hit us up with those upcoming releases,
All
which
right.
look like hot garbage.
Some of them.
one of them in particular.
One of them. The Pirate Flight. Is that the one you're talking about? Pirate Flight looks like
Everybody,
hot garbage.
listen to me, okay? On YouTube, I'm looking directly into your eyes. Go watch this trailer and then just think, how did this happen?
Vomit.
If you like Pilot Wings, you're gonna even probably hate this game.
You
But
should
Pilot
probably
Wings
just-
is garbage to begin with, and this looks worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Plus, there's like a
I
blue
know.
Spyro the Dragon flying
There,
around.
there
I
had
just
to be a
doesn't make
lot
any
of time
sense.
and energy spent on this. We're not normally people just to hate on games.
Oh, you guys hate on the games I like all the time.
No, we hate on you for
Oh,
liking
okay.
the games.
All right.
The games may be great pieces of art, but you suck for liking them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, yeah. So the premise, Dustin.
I don't know. You're flying
You're
around.
flying
It's
a
like
pirate
Superman
ship.
64. You're flying through these rings, collecting some coins.
It's like Nino Cooney 2.
There's
You're
like-
flying around in a pirate ship.
If you went to Aldi to buy like some kind of Spyro thing, this is the character flying around here, fucking generic ass Spyro,
Yeah.
flying around.
This is the Spyro I would buy my kids.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
They would
like
know.
you see like the rip off Chinese direct, like non-licensed products. This is
Right.
what kind of what it looks like. So.
By the way, speaking of non-licensed products, I went to the Pittsburgh Steel City Comic Con the other week.
Yes.
And I hated it, first of all. Well, I mean, it was just a flea market. That was all. I mean, it was
Oh, that's a
just
shame.
people selling stuff. But the thing I was going to say is I kind of wanted to just like make a list and start calling companies and being like, hey, there are 1 million approximately unlicensed products that you own at this show. Please just go and arrest everyone. The amount of unlicensed stuff that you
Wow.
know, like people, crocheting Deadpool and whatever,
Right.
or like pens that they made, obviously, or artwork that they obviously made themselves and were selling with these. Now, in fairness, I bought 2 pieces of those art because they were bomb.
Yeah.
And there were a lot more, but I guarantee you, I'm positive they were not licensed. And I'm just like, how does an event, like it's not a huge event, but it's one of the biggest in Pittsburgh. How does an event like this get away with so many why would you not have a rule in place that you cannot have unlicensed products for sale?
Since we're on this tangent,
Used, whatever. Brand new, I created this. It's this major character in this universe. And what? I'm sorry. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in piracy. But
Whoa.
Whoa.
You believe in piracy? You can't just say that and walk away.
Okay.
Well, have I got a
probably-
game for you? Pirate Flight.
I probably should be very much more specific. I believe in the open and free trade of ideas, and I hate a lot of the trademark law.
That is completely different than piracy.
Yes, you're right. But
I'm trying to defend you right now to
Yeah.
make sure we're not.
I don't pirate games. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not the Dreamcast era.
That's right. Although, no. But I'm not someone who would be like, I want to pursue this person who downloaded a torrent or something like that. I think that actually helps the industry in certain aspects
Certain
of
situations.
large things. But my overall point in this was it was just so blatant and obscene, and some of it wasn't even good. So therefore I was like, no, Disney would never put this out. This character here is not up to par.
Yeah, it does suck. My mom is an artist, and at different shows and stuff, she'll be set up beside someone who's selling like Steeler earrings,
Right.
or all their different
Which
teams
they
and
do
stuff.
license and make, but not for those.
Not for them. But you know what's interesting is that my dad has said that he's heard word of like NFL sending their people
Oh,
to
I'm
these
sure.
types of events, and
Cease and desist letters
Yeah.
abound, I'm sure.
I bought a Steeler necklace at the fair last year.
I bet it was unlicensed.
Probably. Yeah. It was under the grandstand.
Yeah. And it's different. It's complete. Now, okay, like the mills in Asian countries where they're just churning out unlicensed stuff and selling it off as official. That's way different, too. It's way worse, but these were like, I'm going to make this really terrible knockoff and sell it as a Marvel character.
Those fake jerseys can be bad sometimes, too. They don't use the right lettering on the back, and
Yeah.
you just never know what you're going to get.
yeah,
Moving along.
moving along.
Yes. So another game that came out this week, probably one of the better looking ones, even though it bored Dustin to death, was MLB Home Run Derby.
Oh, dude, this looks
And,
bad, dude. I don't think it's just boring. It looks bad,
You put
dude.
yourself, you are in the stadium hitting home runs.
He
You don't
hates
like
sports.
baseball or sports. So
Dude, just play freaking
but-
Wii Sports, dude. It's done.
No,
You've done it.
No. You're in Fenway Park. You're at the plate. You're hitting home runs. That's got to be one of the best feelings.
I have
of the
a
whole
story
world,
for
and
you,
now
Phil.
you can experience it.
Quick, sorry.
Okay.
This has had so many tangents, this show, but this is necessary. I was working at the Speakeasy, a place here in town.
Right.
And we had nobody there for a long time. I was so bored. Baseball was on. Pirates.
Yeah,
So I was like, you
they
know what?
suck.
I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit and watch baseball for as long as I can.
But you weren't watching
No
baseball. You're watching
longer.
the Pirates.
I was watching I watched for like 7 minutes. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I want to die right now. This is so boring.
It was probably during the no hitter or the perfect game that he had going into 6 innings or something.
I don't think it was.
No.
Because
was-
the pitcher who was on when Dustin was watching had like 12 pitches at that point.
okay.
So it was in the 6th or 7th inning.
Yeah, definitely not that.
It was so boring. I think baseball is boring.
Baseball is
Extremely
an
boring.
art. There is a art to baseball that other sports don't have.
I don't think there's any art involved.
Oh, it's a game of precision and inches. And
I would
and-
agree. Precision.
yeah.
Inches.
Yep. It's not.
Precision and inches. That's a thing.
It's art.
That's fine.
Yep.
I wouldn't call it art. Sorry.
Bold take.
Wow.
Sports is not art.
That's
And
Wow.
art is not sports.
that's inappropriate, first of all.
It's not inappropriate. I'll stand by it.
Wow.
There are artistic aspects to all of these things, but it's not art.
Send your mail bombs to 541 32nd Street.
At Dustin Can Fly. At me right now. Sports. It's not downgrading it. It's not saying anything. If you like it, whatever. That's fine. Okay, I'm
Everything
sorry.
is music.
I'm done.
Okay, so Dustin doesn't like that game.
No, he didn't even play that game.
Well, if you think that's boring, then
Wait.
you'll love dream angling fishing. If that's what the world needed, it was more fishing. So
There's more art in this baseball VR game than sports itself.
obviously, because it's a video game.
That's what I was saying. I don't want to make sure people didn't get the wrong impression.
Dustin said video games are not art.
That's right.
Is what Dustin
I heard
said.
that
Fuck him.
directly from his mouth.
Video games are not art. So after today, that leaves Brandon as the only founder of Handsome Phantom. And the good
I'm
game
out.
of the week, Killing Floor Incursion, which
Dude.
looks awesome.
Looks really cool,
Today,
dude.
Out
as we're
today,
recording
yeah,
this.
so-
haven't got a chance to play it yet.
No, we're going to be playing that later tonight. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. From the trailer, it's a first-person shooter where you're running around, potentially going through different levels, floors, and killing
Fighting
things.
some zombies.
Fucking killing zombies. That's what
Nice.
the world needed, was more zombie games.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
we kind of been lacking in that over the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Treyarch. But yeah, looks pretty awesome. We're going to dig into that in a little bit. But that's pretty much the gist of the games that came out this week.
Kind of a dry week.
Yeah. It was kind of a dry week. I still think the MLB game looks pretty awesome though.
Yeah.
So.
We're going to wrap it up, but before Dustin explodes into flames, I want to mention to everybody, we're going to have a few VR fitness pieces coming out on the website next week.
Yes.
They won't be on the podcast. Well, actually, we may have an interview for the podcast that we'll patch into the next episode. But next week, we're going to have a video from Boo Stewart, who was one of our writers on the site. It's pretty good. It's a good video. He submitted it to us last week, and it looks exceptional.
it's pretty funny. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a very tongue-in-cheek fitness video, I think. And then he's also got a couple other articles and pieces coming out related to VR and fitness and how those things play into our lives. And got to do an interview with the guys who made Sprint Vector and talk about that. So we're going to patch that interview in a future episode, but also want to encourage you to check out his video and the article when we post it. You can follow us on Twitter at Handsome Phantom. Just Google it or search for it on Twitter or whatever, and you'll be sure to catch it when it comes out. Set the alerts, by the way. If you like Handsome Phantom on Twitter or if you follow us, go in and set the little alerts button so you can be notified when we tweet.
Yep. So I have another announcement.
Yeah.
Is we have our new podcast coming out
Yes.
in the real soon future.
Right.
This month for sure. In fact,
Month of May.
we had a date and we talked about even mentioning it on this show, but I don't know if we're going to do that.
I'd hold off.
Well, let's hold off.
It'll be coming soon.
It'll be coming real soon. I'm really, really excited. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, we're looking at the almost completed set of the show.
Yes.
Over there.
Because we're on the other side of the
We might
studio
even switch
space.
over to that set at some point.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
So,
We got to do something about that though.
The stain
some,
on
and
the,
yeah,
it's like
Yeah.
a questionable.
questionable stains.
Yeah, on that
So,
sheet.
no,
Do
we're
you think he's going to make a lot of noise?
Brandon?
keep him locked up. So, no, we're really, really excited and it's going to be great. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
You can
So-
also find that on Twitter. When
On
we post
Twitter,
about it.
when we post about it.
The
Yep.
other thing is, we know you're probably not listening anymore, and that's fine. But if you are still listening, then you probably enjoy us a little bit. If you do, please go over to iTunes, leave us a quick rating and review. It will only take you maybe a minute or two. If you have an iPhone, you can just do it right in the podcast app if you use it. And if you don't use that hot garbage app, you can use Overcast. And on Overcast, you can leave us a little star. It'll recommend us to your friends and maybe on Twitter and to people who like similar things that you do. Those two things go a long way. But the biggest thing that goes a long way, if you have a friend who's into PlayStation VR, or really, we're branching out into lots of other topics as they relate to PSVR,
Right.
you can go ahead and let them know personally. Send them a Facebook message, tweet them, tag them, whatever you got to do. Send them an email, send them snail mail. Let them know about the show because the majority of shows that I subscribe to are ones my friends have recommended to me. And so that would really go a long way. And we would probably love you. Maybe.
Probably will.
Probably not.
Maybe.
In like a platonic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Josh, you say you listen, so if you are, try writing something pretty soon, huh?
Yeah. Josh
So,
doesn't listen.
That's just he said he did. So that's me testing him.
Once I asked him specifically,
Right.
he was like, "Oh, I thought you meant adventure mode." I'm like, "That podcast hasn't existed
yeah.
in 2 months or so."
Yeah. This was his test.
Yeah.
He failed already.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya.
See ya.